For once, trying to test the mic, trying to see if it's actually going to work this time. If there's any echoes. Might be some feedback. You never know. 20 seconds behind so far. You never know. 20 seconds behind so far. You never know. 20 seconds behind so far. Oh, cool. Now close that off. And we will. Oh, yay, we're streaming because pop this out. This time I'm going to have a huge chat window, a big TV. Somebody will read what people say. Did I nail the audio this time? Because I really don't understand why I can't set up my stream, preview the stream, and then when it's good, hit go. It's like, if I want to actually see if it's good, then I have to go, and then, you know, then it doesn't ever work. So, just let me know. Can you hear me? Is there any weird feedback? Everything appears to be working so far? Okay, good, good, good. We get to start, like, on time. Not that I actually set a time. All right, so hello everybody. It's been a while. I'm glad to be doing a stream again with y'all. It has been quite an eventful last 6 months, but I've seen you before then, of course. I got sick for a long time, and then I had a lot of work queued up because I was sick. I couldn't do it, so I just had to like barrel down and just work really, really hard. But I'm mostly caught up. I still have some really big projects, but I'm waiting on parts here or there. So I decided that why not do a stream? I have this to do, so how you guys doing? Let's see what people's going on. I see some familiar faces. I see some people that I know who are now tuning into the stream. Lots of fun people. And even my wife, who should be at work, working. So, yeah, I guess we got the whole crowd here. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask. I try to answer all questions, but I get a lot of them. So if I miss out, it's not because I didn't want to answer it. It's just that I didn't see it. And let's talk about where we're at. Okay, so I have I put paid promotion on this stream. It's kind of an iffy one. I have been doing some work for a company called Roguecast. They are a company that sells computer parts. They're a startup. And it's kind of interesting. I have 2 friends that work there. One's a close friend, and then I got another friend of mine a job there. So I have a bunch of friends that work there, and I'm helping them out. And to do that, I'm basically taking like product photography shots, and they get to put it on their website. But I figured that why not build this computer for a live stream? So it's this live stream isn't really paid promotion. Roguecast doesn't care what I say about the hardware because they're not paying me for it at all. But I wanted to let you guys know that because this hardware is going to show up on Roguecast. So there's that out of the way. Speaking of which, I've been seeing on Reddit and other places that people think Roguecast is a scam because it's a brand new site. There's not a lot of products there. That's a good thing. That's a good thing for us because it's the only way I've been getting my hands on video cards lately for customers because they don't sell out instantly. It takes them like 2 hours to sell out a video cards. So that's one of my secrets. It's one of my secrets. But I have been getting a lot of parts through eBay and paying scalpers and getting help from my Discord too. So, all right, let's look at some questions. What low profile coolers do I recommend? Well, you're in the right place. I would look at my channel because I do dozens of videos on low profile coolers. The quick answer is the NHL9i is the best low profile cooler. I really like the Scythe Shuriken 3 for a medium height blowdown cooler. I think that's probably the king of blowdown coolers right now. And for really big air coolers that are still small form factor-ish, I think I'd cut it off the Scythe, actually, the Scythe Shuriken 3. So the Noctua NHL99 and the Scythe Shuriken 3. Funny story, I actually have this cooler. I'm going to be doing a review for Scythe, because Jerry keeps sending me his coolers. And he sent this to me like 8 months ago, and I feel bad about that, but it's so awkward. It performs fantastic, but it's kind of like that weird size where it's like, why wouldn't you use a Shuriken 3? It's like the same height, but it's not small enough to like fit in the mini, so it doesn't really compete with the NHL9i. But I just discovered something. This is the funny story. I was like, oh man, I misplaced the Intel mounting brackets for this. And I'm doing my cooler sheet out. My next one, I'm going to be releasing some more coolers because that's always fun. And I was like, man, I cannot find the Intel mounting brackets. But I was just looking at this, and I'm like, wait a second, maybe I didn't misplace them. Maybe they have like a universal mounting system, which would be really cool. People are asking about the Blackridge. I am not a fan of the Blackridge. It's fine. It's a good cooler. It works well. You can go look at some of my benchmarks. I'll post a link in the description of this video after it's done to my other benchmarks that I have. But I think it's a way overhyped cooler. It doesn't really fit into a nice category of sized performance. It works really, really well if you can get it to blow down air onto your chipset. But at that point, you probably have enough case to get a bigger top-down blow cooler. So I think that the cool thing about the Blackridge is that you can smush it. You can bend it 3mm and fit it into some smaller form factor cases. But I know people love that cooler, so I am making the S4T compatible to fit it. And really, that's thanks to Eric. He's like, Josh, you got to make it compatible with the Blackridge. Speaking of S4T, the project is more than well underway. I've already made the purchase for them, and I'm going back and forth with the factory and trying to get it perfect. I don't like to release a product that you guys beta test. I want to beta test it. I want to spend all the money. I want to have all the oopsies first, and then release a product that's as perfect as possible. And it's not been perfect so far. There's been weird things here or there, and it's a very complicated computer case, which I cannot wait to show you how complicated it is, because I don't think people know how complicated it is. Any other questions? Have I seen the new EVGA 3060 Ti that's supposed to fit with the Mini the Power Brick? I want to try it when my GPU is stock. Yes, I have seen it. It is right here. And it is a glorious graphics card. It's almost the perfect Mini ITX graphics cards. It'd be perfect if the power plug was at the end. It's not, it's on top, but it is perfect in every other way. Amazing cooler design, amazing. Has a giant thick copper heat spreader. It has copper heat pipes everywhere. It has great high quality fin design, and they're not joined at the ends. They're open, so they're actually gonna vent air really well. It has a shroud that goes down all the way to the cooler, so the fans aren't going to be competing with each other when they blow. Just great design, super heavy, super premium, absolutely the best. I have purchased several 3060 Ti's so far, and this one is just incredible. So hold out for this one for sure. And check this out, check this out. Oh, here is my copper S4MC. I haven't polished it yet, that's why it's not polished, but this puppy fits in the S4MC. That is how compact it is. Can you imagine this all nice and polished with like copper sleeving and stuff, and like the Thermalright copper cooler kind of sticking out just a teeny tiny bit? It's gonna be pretty sick. I haven't decided if I'm gonna build it yet, or if I'm gonna just polish it and sell it to somebody who wants to actually make it happen. But if you're interested in that, please email me. But oh my gosh, it weighs a ton. Put this graphics aside. Yeah, the Zotac, I have all variants of the Zotac Mini ITX cards. The overclocked edition, the super overclocked edition, and the normal variant. I have it here in the office. It's not really worth showing it to you. It doesn't fit nicely in the Mini. It will fit in the linked S4T though. But it's not, I wouldn't get it. Like, it's just as hard to find as the EVGA. So just hold out for the EVGA. Spencer asks about recommendations for 3D printer. I'm not the guy to ask. Don't ask me. However, I would probably look at the resin printer. There's a lot of drawbacks to resin printer. They're smelly, they're messy, and they're a pain to cure the part, as whereas a FDM printer just prints it and you're done. However, you do get really nice clean parts, and you don't have to have supports, which makes your parts even cleaner. So I would definitely say look at a resin printer. That's what I would do. But as far as brand or whatever, I have no idea. Some people are asking if I help them build computer cases, and that's what I do. That's my main job. So yeah, just email me at josh@nfc-systems.com, or better yet, support@nfc-systems.com, because I actually check that email. And one more question, then I'm actually going to do some work, but keep asking questions. My opinion on 12-volt only power supplies, I think that's referring to Intel's new standard that they're going to be pushing out towards server side, and maybe some like companies like Dell, that kind of thing. And I think it's great. I think that we really don't need to have a bunch of different wires anymore for SATA drives. M.2 is the way to go all the way, so why not? However, I do not think it's going to happen or get passed down to consumer power supplies for quite some time, because the motherboard's going to have to change too. So I still think that's quite a ways out, and it may never be a thing. I hope it is, but that's okay, because I don't normally build with power supplies, and that's what we're doing today. We are building a normal-ish computer case, which I hate the thought of. I hate the thought of doing it, but that's one of the reasons I'm streaming it. It's like I gotta have some company while I do this. One more good question. Someone asked for the S4T. It is coming very soon. In fact, it's so soon, I thought it was going to be out right now. But again, it needs to be perfect. It's not there yet, but it's very, very, very close. And Kevin's asking, what length does the EVGA 3060 Ti measure? And send me an email, Kevin, and great to see you, man. I'm actually working on your cases right now as well. So I'm hoping to actually make a video. That's my New Year's resolution, to make videos about your awesome cases. But send me an email and I will actually I'll answer any questions you want specifically about that. All right, so first things first, I want to see if this cooler hold on, disconnecting my test bench. Owie! Oh man, do you guys ever do that? I always seem to puncture my fingers, and I'm bleeding, on the stupid RGB headers. Of course, I am a klutz, so there's that. It's like, I don't know, the 10th time I've done something like that. Everyone says huge small computer. Yeah, if you watch this channel, you know that what I consider a small computer and what other people consider small computers are usually two different things. So this is a huge small computer, in my opinion. But it's gonna have a really big graphics card, so that's kind of necessary. All right, so now I have this blood sacrifice out of the way. This is a, looks like a 2070 Super with a Noctua mod. I've been buying whatever graphics cards I can, guys. It's rough out there. All right, now let's see if this is the same bracket for Intel as it is for... Oh! That is awesome. Scythe Shuriken 2, I believe is the name of this product. And again, to tell you the story, I'm doing this review, not for this video, but I'm going to do a review for this cooler for Scythe, and I lost the Intel bracket for it. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I do all my testing on, and I got to order another one and not tell Jerry. So I like put it off for 6 months. But it's just that they designed the bracket system so well that the brackets for Intel are the same as the AMD. You just flip them a different direction. That's really cool. I'll have to include that in review, but I'll forget by then. But with that out of the way. Hey, but I'm streaming. It's okay. It's okay. You can get what you need to get, but I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, John, I guess just thinks that I'm here in my room talking to myself.
I did.
So I mean, that's what I normally do, but it's usually about small form factor computer things. All right, I'm going to put this off to the side before I lose it again. And maybe I should even make a note. I'm going to answer some questions to get back in my train of thought. What do I think about the D-Shroud for this? It works really, really, really well, and it's the only way to really fit these inside of a Mini, so there you go. I should probably wear good protective gloves. I probably should, but then I just end up bending things rather than poking my hand, so until I need to get on low blood pressure medicine, I think I'll just take the pain. But yeah, trying to find graphics cards in 2020, that's something about getting... You can just take the box. I don't need the whole box. I'm doing mods with it.
Really?
Yeah, just take the whole box. If I need it, I'll come over, but I don't think I will. Oh, I need a 8-foot cable. 8-foot cable to order.
I'm out of 10. I gotta order more.
Yeah.
Black or white?
Like a normal carbon one?
Okay.
That'd be sweet.
I'll order some.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Peace.
I'll just say hi. I don't have my makeup on.
I don't either. I look like a ghost.
Time for some haircuts, huh?
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing a hat. Where was I? I have a goldfish memory as it is. I just got downgraded to a guppy-sized memory. All right. Scythe cooler. That's nice. It solves that problem. Makes me very happy. Good job, Scythe. All right, so here's the motherboard I'm using. This is the ASRock Phantom Gaming. I think it's... I'm not actually sure what it is. The B550, because I want to say it's not the 570 board, obviously. B550 board. I have not used it yet. However, I have installed that cooler on it. That's why it has the paste on it. And this is a Ryzen 3800X. So I'm going to get this cleaned off. Well, I don't really need to clean it off. It's brand new, so. I always wipe down my CPU heat spreader with alcohol first anyway. And I just put that Scythe cooler on. Yeah. So my plan for this, I'm actually not sure what cooler I'm going to put on it, because I'm going to be liquid cooling this with the Maybox. Now, for those of you that don't know, I have a giant car-sized radiator. It's actually bigger than my Jeep radiator, bolted to my garage wall, and has a pump system and a fan system. There's a video on the subject, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool video. Definitely would recommend checking it out. But it's cold outside right now, right? And I cannot wait to hook that up to this system. It's going to be very cool. I'm excited about that. But I don't have the bracket for one of my water blocks I dug in my junk drawer. It's an EK Supremacy, which came out before AM4. So I was tempted to laser cut something out real quick, but then I realized that this stream is going to take forever. Oh, okay. So what cooler should I use? I think I probably will end up using the Black Ridge for now. because people were talking about it. And I have it on the shelf because I don't really use it for anything else. If I have all the parts still. Okay, so one of the reasons I don't like the Blackridge, sometimes you need low profile RAM. And it doesn't always fit on your motherboard nicely. Because motherboards have heat sinks everywhere, and it's just kind of a pain to get working right. It's gonna fit this way for me. Whereas you have designs like, it's really simple, right? But you have designs like the Scythe Big Shuriken 3, which seem to cover the entire motherboard, but they've designed it in such a way that it flips around and around and around, and it will fit different kinds of motherboards. It's really smart. Scythe is really smart with how they come up with their coolers. I do like how Noctua is like, nope, we follow strict keep out standards, period. But then they just basically grow in height instead of spreading out. This box is looking sadly quite sparse for Blackridge mounting parts. Let's see if I have another Blackridge box around here. No. Forgot. This is another reason that I'm not a big fan, because they want me just to mount it straight to the back for AM4. And these screws, I don't know. I hate harping on other people's hardware. It just feels wrong, but again, I don't hate the cooler. It's perfectly fine. It's just I'm not a big fan of it, and I do think it's overrated. Oh, and I can't even do it in this position because it's not a riser board. That's right. So I can't actually install it here because the graphics card's going to mount directly. Can I install it over here? Just barely. So those are my two options for it. And I'm just going to have to pray that it fits in the case. And I do want to talk about the case in a minute. Because I actually can speak with more authority when it comes to that kind of thing. It's going to work in this case with this orientation, but as you can see, the only way this cooler is going to fit is if it's hanging over the top a little bit. That's a good inch. So 26 millimeters at least. This is so janky. I am sorry, but this is so janky. This works for Intel boards, but with these giant holes to clear the backplate for AMD. And it's such a big cooler, it really needs a backplate, an actual backplate. I'm not a fan of that. Hello, more friends. Sage asked, will the S4T fit the Big Shuriken 3 with a thicker fan? And no, it will not. I mean, that's a big cooler. It's a pretty tall size cooler. So I don't actually know if it will fit with the slim fan. To be honest, I have not tested that, but I will test that because that is my favorite top-down cooler. But it's a pretty tall cooler. I would say that the Shuriken 3 is like for normal ITX cases, not like ultra thin, small form factor cases. But you don't really need a big, I mean, if you have the space, put a 25 millimeter thick fan on it for sure. But I'm extremely surprised with how high quality their slim fans are. Scythe is the one to watch. I am getting stuff from them for free, but this is my live stream and they'll never watch it. But Scythe is the one to watch. I still think Noctua makes the best coolers overall. I think they nail every detail. I still think they have an edge in the fan performance and the edge in the fan noise. But the Scythe's fans are really close. And at some point, it's like, can you tell a difference between the two? They're really, really close. And it's a big deal because Scythe is way cheaper than the Noctua products. And they also look really cool. And the Noctua products look very quality, like the finish quality on them is superb. Nothing looks cheap on a Noctua product when you see it in person, but a lot of people don't like, of course, their colors. I do now. It's kind of like their thing. When I see it, I think of coffee and chocolate and leather. I will be putting a big fan on this. I probably should have taken off the little one. I have it blowing up, which is the way the manufacturer recommends it. I just did another cooler shootout, and I put this in it. It's not up yet. I still have to edit it and all that after I do that Scythe fan, but because I have plenty of space in this. Yeah, I'm going to use either the Sterox Noctua, which is the highest performing Noctua fan, or probably just their NF F12. Don't think it really matters too much. It doesn't, actually. I forgot I'm water cooling this in a minute. So never mind. I'm not even going to bother. Someone asked, what am I using for a workspace mat? You know, as you see here, I have a big cutout, and that's because I spilled a $22 bottle of Loctite on it, and I couldn't fix it. I had to cut it out. Such a bummer. But this stuff is really cool. You can spend a lot of money on workspace mats. I found a pack of 5 rolls of this, which I've already used up over the years. This is tool bed liner for like snap-on chests, except it's from Husky. I bought it at Home Depot for $30 for 5 rolls. I don't know if it was like one of those secret sales where they just mismarked the price of it or something, because if you go look at this stuff, normally it's pretty expensive. But again, 30 bucks for 5 rolls. I've used it for how many years? Many years. I do switch them out because it looks better on camera, but it's not like they wear out. It's just that they get dirty, and I want to keep it up. People are saying to focus the picture. Well, depends on what you want to look at, because I'm out of focus a little bit, sure, but the hardware isn't. And my face is not pretty, but the hardware can be. So I've kind of chosen this balance between it. So it's kind of like a catch-22. David asks, just join, what's the point of this build? There's no point. I'm just building a small form factor build in a big case, talking about the different parts. It's nothing really super interesting. Roadcast is having me do some product photography and product videos, and I have to assemble the case. I was like, you know what? It'd be fun to get back in the live stream again, talk with people about random small form factor topics, and assemble a computer case. Okay, so this is the Lian Li TU150, which is probably the second biggest runaway success for ITX cases. They make a bajillion of these things. I don't know their numbers, but I do know another case's numbers, which I can't tell you the brand because I know the numbers and I don't want to get caught. But they sell about 10,000 units a year. That's a lot of small form factor cases. That's a different brand I'm talking about. But I know that this is hot on the heels. And it's always out of stock because of it. But again, Roadcast had some stock, and I chose, if I was going to build something in a case, it's going to be this one. I was kind of interested in the handle, and I thought it was a gimmick. Not because having a handle on a small computer case is a gimmick. That actually is pretty handy for some LAN parties like QuakeCon, where you have to like walk 2 miles holding your computer. But this thing is built solid. There is a big steel plate underneath here that bolts to, and it covers the entire width of the top. So, and length. So it's solid. It is a solid handle, and I love how satisfying it is when you pop it down. Really cool. Yeah, so if you need a small computer case with a handle, this is kind of it. Now, Lee, they still have high quality cases, and they still have probably the highest quality manufacturing for cases out there, but you can tell that they toned this one down to kind of get it affordable, and it is very affordable, because Lee's cases have always been super expensive. They make my Mini, by the way, and they charge me a lot of money. So, yeah, but it's an affordable case, and I liked some of the features on it, but I want to talk about, as we install, because I haven't really looked at it yet, things I like and what I don't like. I like the inside finish. It's a semi-gloss coating. It's definitely painted. Everything's painted except the top. It's brushed, and you can tell they did a time saver brush on it, unlike their normal panels, because once it gets towards the edge, you can kind of see it tapered off in some kinds of light, but still overall very nice. Has good top I/O. I'm not a fan of I/O because you have to have cables, and I like to have a nice clean build, but this is obviously not the kind of case that's catering to that. But USB Type-C. Power button is bad, like all computer case power buttons, but it is the clicky type for sure. It has a dust filter in the front. I don't believe in dust filters because my thing is you're going to have to take them out to clean them a lot, and they're messy, and there's still going to be dust in the case, and so when you take it out, you're still going to be spraying your case out, so why not just save the middleman and just spray your case out, then I'll have to deal with cleaning a filter. So I'm not going to be putting my filter in there. I'm going to show you the front I took off and the side panel. Side panel is tempered glass. I will peel it off when we have victoriously conquered this build. And it has a steel backplate on it, which hides some of your cable mess at the bottom. It's also strange to me because like the pegs kind of go all different directions. I don't know if that's important or not for the design. And Lee changed their hooks, their pin hooks. Goes this way. It does bolt in kind of nice. It has a little tab on the side for popping it out. That wasn't as scary as I expected it to be. It's very heavy because, again, it's glass. And there's that. Now let's look at the front case panel, which is very, very simple. You have about 30 millimeters gap for air to suck up from the bottom to the top. And the sides, it does have this nice little, I guess it's kind of a type of paper mesh, which is there for looks and for airflow, but you wouldn't really need it unless you had that crazy Sterox in the front going full blast. And the front has, I was assuming pegs. Yeah, it has pegs. All sides, 4. Goes like this. Front takes a little bit more force to pop on and off, but I mean, that's probably a good thing because are you really going to be taking the front on and off a lot? The only reason you really would need to would be to clean that stupid air filter or to install the fan in the front. I guess if you wanted to run the cables someplace other than this little pocket right here, you could do that. Put that down there. Now, the layout The layout's really interesting because it's not really a chimney style case, and when you install a graphics card, unless you have a really thin 2-slot graphics card, you'd have fans butting up against it. Probably not ideal. If you did a D-shroud and put 2 good Noctua fans at the bottom, that would be kind of ideal. But you're not really going to be fitting fans underneath the bottom for any real reason that I can think of with the actual graphics card. And the top, of course, because it has this handle, there's no venting on the top. So it's kind of a front to back operation. And you have one slot for a 120 millimeter fan, one aperture for a 120 millimeter fan in the front, and the rear you probably could fit. Well, let's find out. Let's not probably anything. These Noctua 140 millimeter fans have the hole spacing for 120 millimeter mount, which is really handy because it would allow you to stick a 140 millimeter fan at the bottom, again, if you weren't running a graphics card, and use those mounts. And on the back side, unfortunately, you could not fit this as an exhaust or intake on the back. On the inside, I mean, you could definitely do it on the back if you wanted to. But you wouldn't want to do that, because that would just be weird. Hey Daniel, I don't have a Silverstone ML08, but I have seen pictures of them, so I don't really feel comfortable comparing it. However, I am kind of a Lee & Lee guy. I think that their quality is unmatched. Overall, the case feel is very solid. It's a very solid filling case, which you would expect it to be with a handle on top by a company that actually cares about you being a return customer. So this thing is aluminum case, but it feels like it's a steel case. It is incredibly solid and very heavy. I do like how it has the SSD mount or hard drive mount right there underneath the power supply. I like how there's no extra brackets hanging over the front, because that's not really what this case's target audience is. And let's actually install some parts into it. Let's start with the power supply, which is a Fractal design. It's their Ion series, it's 650G. And I do like Fractal design power supplies. The only thing I don't like about them is they use this stupid split 24-pin cable. And I don't like that because I like to sleeve my power supply cables, and this is a pain in the butt. So there's that. But they do include very flexible cables. And I will say that if you're not going to sleeve your power supply cables, that they're a great choice. Silverstone, though, is my jam. That's who I go to for SFX power supplies. I'm going to be facing the intake fan towards the bottom of the case because the top there is no venting. Do this awkward maneuver. One, two, three screws. Ah. Power supply screws in the rear are always 6-32. American. So we came up with the power supply. But the rest of a Lee & Lee is going to be M3. So that may be a bit confusing. 632, in case you don't know, are the coarse threaded screws, the slightly bigger ones than the M3. So do not try to install your power supply screws in anywhere else in this case. All right, first weird thing I see. It's not really that big of a deal, but if you're a middle screw power supply kind of guy, it's gonna be hard to get there. But luckily, there are 6 mounting points for an SFX power supply. And I just used 4 of them, just like that. It has, of course, the built-in C14 cable. Here's a little pigtail, putting this in the back of the power supply, like so. Is the TU150 Siegfried, which many people are commenting on. And we have a bundle of cables. This is for the USB 3.0. This is for the USB Type-C. This is going to be for the power switch and I guess a reset switch. And this is, of course, the cable that I never use, the audio switch, audio cable, because that just introduces more unwanted noise in my headphones. All right, power supply is there. I'm gonna leave the cables out for now, and we'll jam them back in the case once we figure out everything else and where it's sitting. So put the motherboard inside. First, I'll put the RAM in the motherboard. This is Kingston HyperX Fury RAM. It is not AMD RAM per se, Ryzen approved, but guess what? I'm gonna live on the edge. Luckily, I can install it with the Blackridge. That is nice. This looks to be like a 32 gigabyte kit, 1.35 volts. Probably, obviously, they're going to put that on there. I don't see the timings written down on this. That's interesting. Do not see the timings, can't read that off. Can't see the speed. Can't read that off. But I can read off the serial number if I wasn't blind. But we can see what it does in the UEFI. Media asks, is this going to be my personal rig? I don't know. I am going to use it for a bit because I have that big car radiator size liquid cooler on the side of my garage, which I'm going to pump in fluid through the wall into this computer case. But I'm waiting on a conversion bracket for my water block so I can put it on the AM4 motherboard. But I cannot wait to see what kind of numbers I get when it's 30 degrees outside and it's a nice toasty 72 in my office. That is going to be fun. That is the Watercool brand, Watercool Mo-Ra radiator system, which is epic. Do a Google on that now. If you haven't seen my video on it, it's actual produced video. It's really cool. Crazy, crazy, crazy liquid cooling setup. But I actually use that when I have multiple liquid cooling rigs in the office for customers. I can just use one radiator to power several rigs at a time. It's insane. And the only time it's ever been above ambient temp on the CPU reading was when I had 3 liquid cooled rigs and a graphics card at the same time. No, it definitely still exists. It still exists. It's awesome. I just don't have to use it that often because I'm mostly building small form factor computer cases. Well, Blackridge strikes again. I actually can't get to the last screw to mount the motherboard into the case. I'm not worried about that, but I am upset that I'm going to have to take the board out to install the CPU power cable to the motherboard first, because I can't get to it without cutting my hand up. And I wasn't looking what I was doing, I was talking and reading the YouTube comments. So I missed that. But again, the Blackridge covers that bottom mount completely. There's no way that you could install that in any computer case. Not even with the time. I mean, I don't know of a single computer case. The Mini, you'd have the best luck because you could take the side off and possibly get a really short, stubby Phillips bit and do it, but it's a sexy looking cooler, but it's just not a sexy using cooler. Such a pain in the butt to use and install, and it has such low compatibility. And its performance isn't mind-blowing. It's good, but not really enough to make up for its quirks, in my opinion. It feels like going back to the Stone Age of air coolers. Remember when air coolers were such a pain in the butt to install? And you had to have a degree in mechanical engineering? It's not that bad, but it's like a throwback to that era. What a pain. I hear you. A lot of people, I mean, people love the Black Ridge. I am not going to be popular for saying that it's not my favorite. I get that, but there are other options. Is the ID Cooling IS47, I believe. And if you really want good performance, although it's kind of a wonky, you have to pay for it, you can get the Thermolab, I think it's a Thermolab, the LP53, and then put a Noctua fan on that. And then you have all the beauty of compatibility in different various very small form factor cases, but you get near Black Ridge level of performance. Because the Black Ridge, you can get really great performance with it, but you're going to have to put a fan on the top, right? And once you do that, it's kind of a tall cooler. So I think that the reason I'm not so hot on it is because at the end of the day, you're using a 92 millimeter fan on it for a lot of these super small form factor builds. So you're not really getting the huge, I mean, it does have some really great heat pipes. It does have good contact plate. But again, look at my benchmarks. If you agree with my benchmarks, you do, or if you don't, then post a comment. You can do markups and stuff on the spreadsheets, but I will make sure to include another link in the description. But I've now done this several times with huge cooler shootouts. Yeah, if the Black Ridge was a lot cheaper, like people are saying that in the UK is $50, I think it gets a bump up in points, but in the US it's kind of expensive. Again, I'm not going to be able to get to that last screw in this case anyway. Not concerned about it. If I am building a computer for a client, which this is not, I always use Loctite on the motherboard threads because for some reason when shipping, they can come out. And they do often if you do not include Loctite. So that's just something to think about if you're ever going to be shipping a computer case. This is going to go PCIe. It takes 12. Okay, well, there's just multiple options. We have options for days. I'm going to put it there. You can put a very big cooler in this case. I wish I had a really big cooler to do, but I do not. So I do like something that I'm noticing. Lee and Lee has put the this panel right here, this black brace, and that's going to go over the power supply inlet area, so I can hide cables a little bit easier when I stick it in there. So I'm going to zip tie that down, probably like that. Well, hello, Flea. Good to see you too. Just not on my dogs. And the graphics card cable, which I thought I had lost. I'm glad that I found it, but I do have it, because that's going to be important. Talk about a simple installation. So again, this is a 3800X, 32 gigabytes of mystery RAM from Kingston HyperX. And a 650 watt power supply, and a ASRock Phantom Gaming B550 board, which I do like. But now we have to stick in the graphics card. The T150 has a removable pressure plate, so if you don't want to use the built-in screws to bolt your PCIe tab down, you can. I'm removing all three because I'm going to be putting in the Sapphire 6800 Nitro, which is a nice looking card with a lot of fins. I have not used it yet, so I do not know how it performs, but looking at it, I see that there is an LED on the back side. Sapphire puts so much work into the back plate, of their graphics cards, which usually it faces down. This is the part you see, so I like that. But I mean, I really like the back side more than I like the front side of a lot of their cards. The back plate is actually metal. It's not plastic. It kind of feels like it's plastic. It's definitely metal though. And we have three display ports, one HDMI. The cooler design, first time I'm looking at this, you have a ridiculous amount of heat pipes everywhere. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have a bridge from this heat pipe over to the main one. It's kind of 6. Then you have a little micro cooler in the middle, like a little micro heatsink. Pretty interesting. And of course, dual 8-pin. Now, getting this sucker in, somebody asked a great question. With this GPU, do you have room for fans in the bottom? I'm placing my bets that no, you do not. You possibly could get the Scythe 12mm slims underneath there, but they'd be completely pointless. They'd be butted right against your cooler. They would just fight each other, and they wouldn't work very well at all. The only reason I'd even consider having these here would be if you were not running a graphics card, which is why would you get a computer this big? And number 2, if you were doing a D-Shroud, because you can get far, far better performing and quieter fans with a D-Shroud. Although I will say, with a cooler this long, at least you get these fans. This looks like a 100mm fan. This one looks about 92mm-ish. Maybe a little bit bigger. And that one's also 100mm fan. So big fans. How am I going to get this in here? It is the same size as the computer chassis, and there's flanges on both sides. Yeah. Well, I can say that this GPU fits in the TU150. Woo! Tight fit. Because it's such a big boy, I am going to screw it down. And we can actually put the last Pcie slap dust cover on. So I'll do that. I really do wish this was well, say I wish it was a dual slot card, but it is what it is. It is what they would call a 2.5 slot card, I suppose. And this is going to go this direction, right? No, that's dumb. It would probably go this way. Normally, it would probably go this way on the back side. But I'm not going to do that because I have to take the graphics card out again. I don't want to do that. And I actually don't know if it would fit, but maybe I should take it out for science. Because the PCB, it would fit. you'd have to install the graphics card with this little plate installed and lifted up if you wanted to use this. Ugh. Ugh. I need to go to the gym so I can bench press 3090. Let's install the 3090 to see if it fits. For science. The 3090, by the way, a couple things about it. First of all, it is far and away the most beautiful, most glorious, best feeling work of computer art, retail computer art, I have ever held in my hands. You know, I have bought the Founders Editions for different customers over the years, and they've all been fantastic. The pictures do not do this graphics card justice. This graphics card is not on the same level as even the 2080 Ti, which was really amazing. The quality of this card is so phenomenal. Although there is a downside, it weighs so much. It feels like it weighs, of course, because it's smaller, as much as this computer case does. It might be close. You could probably look up the stats on that. But you can see that this card and this card are about the same size. This one is a little bit longer, but this card weighs 2 of these nitros. It's insane. And somebody says, for the price it is, it better be nice. And I agree with that. It better be really nice for the insane price. Customer card, I did not pay for this. But look out, I want to talk about the 3090 real quick because it's just so cool. Because I don't know if people discuss this in reviews, I don't know, but it has great airflow in the back. Custom PCIe bracket. The PCIe bracket is solid as a rock. It mounts and bolts, who knows how, but there's at least 6 Torx screws on the back plate bolting into machined aluminum. Because, I mean, if any other normal bracket would just cry under the weight of this behemoth. As you can see, and everybody knows this, but it actually blows air through the cooler. So this would be a terrible, terrible card for a sandwich layout, if it would even fit in a sandwich layout case. The actual fan is that kind of steroxy material, super dense, super heavy plastic, and it has a built-in shroud around the ring. Giant hub. It's got to be a crazy motor. This card stays so quiet under gaming loads. It's so quiet, and it gets intensely hot. But here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. The card, because it's so well designed, the cooler is so well designed, the cooler gets to be as hot as the actual CPU core, which is what you want, right? That's how you know it's working efficiently. And the CPU temps on this are great. In my office, which is about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, usually, it would stay at ambient temperatures while gaming, and that's at 4K 60 and staying super, super quiet. But I will say one thing. Their stupid 12-pin connector is the dumbest idea. It's so dumb. You'd have to use this breakout cable, and it's so ugly, and it's super flimsy, like micro HDMI or something like that. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. But other than that, amazing. Someone's saying Optimum Tech managed to do something. I'm not Optimum Tech. I'm not even close. I'm not on that guy's level. I don't like being compared to him. I am not even in the little league. I'm like T-ball league compared to a major leaguer Optimum Tech. Oh. Dreamcat says the 12-pin looks solid in pictures. It does not feel solid. It feels wobbly You can see it wobbling when I put my finger on it. Does not inspire confidence. All right, I want to get this in without scratching it because obvious reasons. Well, I wanted to see if it would work. Maybe if I stick it through the fan hole. But now I can't get it back. Come on, baby. Okay. I will say that this card will not fit in here. However, you could easily mod this to make it fit. What you would need to do is you would need to cut out a square portion right here. That way you can get the tabs in at the end sooner by sticking the front through this hole, and then you could easily set it down in there. Now, also, maybe if you didn't mind like really shoving it, which I'm not gonna do, even for science, possibly, but there's our answer there. Also, another kind of bonus thing I like about the 3090, it stands perfectly on all sides. First graphics card I've seen that does that. Like solidly on all sides. So, yeah. This thing feels like it's nothing. This feels like it's a piece of paper after lifting up the 3090. Which honestly, this is going to be a lot better on your back carrying a whole system. And better on your PCIe slot, that's for sure. I'll put my little plate in now. I don't know. I don't think I would say that it's possible without cutting. I really just don't think I could say that. But maybe. I don't like to say not possible because the users on my Discord are absolutely crazy and they like to make weird things fit. So I'm not going to dare them to fit a 3090 and a TU150 because I think that if anyone could do it, it's those guys. Okay, that's in there. By putting the port side in first, I tried it that way. I don't think you can because it would hit the flange right here. So to get the 3090 in, I'd actually stick it in through the front fan aperture and then try to stick it down. But then I didn't have enough room for the flange in the back. So I think the way I did it is the only way. And I'm not just doing it from holding the case here in front of me, but just from kind of experience working in 3D and designing cases. All right, so there is that card. It's in there solidly. I'm going to plug it in. Zenzub says the clip holding the graphics card in on the motherboard popped up. Any ideas for replacement? You don't need that clip. In fact, I would really recommend that you leave it like it is because for big graphics cards, it doesn't support the card in the direction that you want to support it, which is somebody who's good at words, help me out. It's bending the slot down. That clip only prevents it from coming up. And then when you have a big card and that clip is on there and you're wrestling with it, I think you risk damaging your slot, taking graphics cards out. So that harkens from an era of single slot cards, and I really wouldn't worry about bothering to replace it. In fact, I've been known to take it off on purpose. Yeah, the clamp does not prevent sag. I see how you go in, but you are not playing ball. No 3000 series ITX have been announced. However, as we was talking about earlier, I think that the EVGA 3060 Ti is one of the most perfect ITX graphics cards that's ever been made. It fits flawlessly not only in the Mini, but as I showed before, it will fit in the S4MC. No problem. So this is what I would consider a SFX graphics card, even if it's not technically considered an SFX graphics card. That's the EVGA 3060 Ti XC. I'm going to plug in the power. I'm not going to be plugging in the USB because I don't need it. Power switch and reset. I'm only going to plug in the power because I don't care about the reset. I will say that this board, this ASRock Phantom Gaming B550, has a USB header right underneath, in line with the front panel header. And if you're a new builder, that's going to be really confusing. Or if you have bad eyesight like I do, and everything's black. Oh, that's cool too. The case has these little, they're called lance features, lance operations in the sheet metal. I'll flip it around this side. And what this is for, in case people don't know, right here, that's for getting a zip tie and bundling your cables there, which is probably what I'll end up doing. CS Siegfried. Yeah, that's kind of a concern with big cards, Zen, that you can end up damaging that PCIe slot. So make sure that it's secure in the back brackets and that it's not flopping. But that little clip, that only prevents it from pulling up, which is not really going to be your problem. I have broken many ITX motherboards, especially when I'm doing cooler reviews and I'm doing like 40 plus combinations of testing, taking a graphics card in and out, in and out, in and out. They wear out really easily when they're really big and heavy. Not going to use that for sure. The USB 3.0 is really not that bad. Right on the end of the board, so I think I'll plug that in. And I don't think I actually have... Oh, no, I do. I do have a USB Type-C port plug. This motherboard has everything. I've actually never plugged one of these in before. I'm going to assume they're universal because universal on the other end. Famous last words. Or it's going to be keyed. Anybody know? Anybody want to take a guess? Doesn't seem to go in there very securely. I might be doing it wrong. trying to plug in the USB Type-C connector. There it goes. It clicked in there. And the other wires I ain't using. And there is a nice little pocket down at the bottom for jamming them in there. If you're going to be lazy. So few cables. Kind of nice. What's after the S for T? The S for T is a big thing. Big project. I do have something after it, but the S for T is more than meets the eye. So it's going to last a while. I'm going to run this down this channel. See if I can pull it behind this clip. Nice. And I'll zip tie this together like so. Andrew's saying not using the top compartment. I'm guessing what he's saying is that this lid comes off and that there is a channel in which I could run like the CPU cable. And I do see that there's cutouts. So that is true. And there are some mounts for hard drives at the top as well. Now, how would the top come off? I'm guessing you would take these screws out right here and behind the... Well, then you could install the power supply. So how would you take it off if you're trying to do normal cable management? It's the same as the sides. Okay, well. Fancy tip from a T150 owner. Look at that. And you can see the action. Oh yeah. Tactical handle retraction. I don't know if I actually will get a benefit from this, but let's give it a shot. The cable is so short, it may not be my friend. Oh yeah. Cool tip, thanks. Everything's black, I cannot see. Oh well. I'd actually have to get more creative. And that might actually puncture. Yeah, the cable doesn't appear to be long enough for me to make use of this because it crosses over the handle. And I could put it underneath the handle, but it does end up touching the cable. Could be a problem. We'll go this way, all the way around. Possibly. Oh, it's gonna be really tight. Gonna be able to play bass with it if I get it in. No, we're 20 millimeters too short from using this top compartment. Shame. No, it's under. It's just like the problem is the handle. I look at it from this direction. I couldn't go this way. And I tried going this way. That was even worse. And if I pull the handle up, how it folds down, I don't know if I can actually get it on camera, but I don't think I can get it on camera. There's this lever that you can't see. When it folds down, it ends up touching almost the interior, so it'd be pressing against the wire. It, I don't know if I'd use it. Oh yeah, totally. It'd be completely useful for most power supplies. It's just the Fractal design is pretty smart, I think. They have reasonable length cables for small form factor systems. Hey Dreamcat, I would let you know that 3D printing a case may be good for testing, but it produces a pretty bad result. However, if you check out my Patreon page, I and my friend Eric have been building computer case designs, and we're going to be doing a lot more of them. And you can get these made via like Send Cut Send. So you can actually design your own PC case and get it actually back out of metal for an affordable price. Because back in the day, you could use services like ProtoCase, which are great. I'm not knocking them, and they're probably better for more advanced stuff, but they're very expensive, right? You don't want to spend necessarily $700, $800 plus on your own PC case design. But using Send Cut Send and our drawings, you can get a computer case for like $140 with, you know, all yours with your cutouts and everything. You can just use our designs as a template and go on from there. So that's kind of what I recommend that you do. A 3D printer is not a good tool for production. It's not. It is a good tool for prototyping or making tiny little parts. I use that super expensive machine, which is not mine. I get to rent it from a company, so thank you, Craig, for that. But I use it for like washers and little brackets, small things you don't really see that it just would be too much work to fabricate out of metal. So that's what that's for. But even if you were to, yeah, and that's another thing too. With our cases, we've actually invented some, I think, revolutionary, game-changing stuff for your own PC case design, because there's a lot of features on a computer case that you cannot do without complex tooling. Like flanges for the PCIe brackets, that's a big one that stops a lot of builders in their tracks. So we invented a bracket that will actually, you can 3D print, that pushes in and retains the GPU tab. So you can use a 2D cut panel from places like Send Cut Send. And we also have a retaining tab for the others. So again, we're trying to come up with really cool technology, simple technology that allows you guys to make your own computer case and actually hold it in your hands and use it and not have it be super expensive. So please check out what we're doing on Patreon. And you can also check out our Discord, because we do have some stuff available there. And there will be a YouTube video that's going to have a bunch of free computer cases for you to download and go for Send Cut Send in the near future. So there's that little spiel. People say that, again, I mean, it's up. This is kind of why I don't like to argue. It's like some people think it's fine for printing a computer case. I mean like a nice computer case. Like, will it work? Sure. And functionality is your only concern, but it's going to look like garbage compared to like an actual metal computer case that you can paint. But that's up to you. What your taste, you know? Who am I to tell you? But I can tell you it's much cheaper to not actually buy a 3D printer and then just use Send Cut Send and have a metal case. Although the stuff that uses is really expensive. It's like $100 for I think 800 grams of onyx, and then the actual carbon fiber spool is like $140. So it's pretty pricey. Now, how to deal with this mess. I do see some very nice, more zip tie mounts from the Lance operation. That's very nice. I do like that. I wish they did it the other way, because you'd probably want to zip tie things from the top rather than the inside of the top, but maybe if they mixed it up. Having access to a CNC is amazing, but as somebody that uses a CNC daily, I will tell you that it is not magic. CNC operation skills require a lot of time, a lot of learning. And again, I have a CNC. I have a CNC with a really good spindle that can cut aluminum. I have a CNC plasma cutter. I have a laser that can cut stainless steel in my garage. And I still use Send Cut Send because it can be cheaper and faster. So again, I wouldn't discount using places like Send Cut Send. In some cases, I can see because the lance is on this side, I'm having trouble with the zip tie. In some cases, I can get my part made at Send Cut Send for cheaper than I could have bought the material to get the part made. And I think that a lot of people are going to be buying CNCs and 3D printers and all these because they become so affordable. I mean, that's why I can have it for my business, is that it's become so affordable. But I've also learned that they're not magic. And there's a lot of things that you can do by hand faster. The CNC ends up being like really good for when I'm making multiple parts of something or doing an operation over and over and over again that needs to be precise. I could put, should I put a fan pushing air into the case or pulling out? It doesn't really matter because I'm going to be liquid cooling. I think we're pretty good. For not a lot of work. I like how they allow you to hide the cable so well. Yeah, and if you use the promo code that I will put in the description, you can get 15% off your order as well. Their normal promo code is like 10% off, I think. But I was like, guys, you've got to work with me and give my YouTube viewers a discount because I think your product is revolutionary, and it is revolutionary. I like how it's tinted tempered glass. That's really nice. So you have the cables hidden with almost no effort. As you saw, I was talking to you guys. I didn't put work into it. I used the stock power supply cables. And it looks pretty nice. Alex says front intake is a must. And don't get me wrong, I would totally put a big fan in the front if I was going to run anything other than a liquid cooling setup in a week when I get my liquid cooling parts in. But for now, I'm not going to bother. Although this is really odd to me. This is, granted, as a handle on top, sort of they're thinking like portability. But Lee & Lee has been putting ports in the back for external liquid cooling for ages. And I don't know why they kind of stopped with this case, which is funny because it's the first case in ages I'm going to actually be liquid cooling externally. But, yeah, I'm going to have to drill 2 holes there. The glass quality is good. I mean, it's very nice glass. The backing on it's kind of flimsy, I would say, but what's so magical about this computer case from Lee & Lee is that it's really, really affordable. And for what you're getting for the price, pretty impressive, to be honest. I don't know if they're just trying to, oops, sorry guys, seal their manufacturing prowess and kick a lot of other companies to square one to compete, but it's a very nice quality product for the very low price that you pay for it. So anyway, Thank you for accompanying me as I put this together. It made it a lot more fun. Of course, it made it like 100 times longer. I think this would have probably taken, what, 15 minutes to assemble. I keep doing that. Hope that I'm not blowing your eardrums out. Again, these parts I got from it's not Send. I got them from Roadcast. I'm going to be doing some prog photography for them. I decided to assemble it, but check out Roadcast, especially if you're trying to find a graphics card, because I've been able to snag a 6900 XT, 6900 XT from another customer, two 3060 Ti's, and some other motherboard that I was trying to get a hold of. And I'm also letting my Discord community know when they get graphics cards in. I'm not supposed to say that, but I'm giving them heads up first. I get like a 30-minute warning. If you're trying to snag a graphics card, you really can't find one, then join my Discord and keep checking on Roadcast. This was fun. I don't really have anything else to say. So if you have any questions, now is the time. That's pretty. Yeah, the Nitro logo on the top lights up and also kind of illuminates, which you probably can't see, the PCB underneath with the little venting. Looks really nice, I gotta say. And then the Sapphire logo is full spectrum RGB. And then this edge, which is also RGB. Kind of makes me wish the motherboard was and the RAM, but it's not. The graphics card looks quite nice. Regular maintenance asks what's John working on today, and he is working on cables, I suppose. I told him to make some more JX16 connectors. The card is huge, Octave. It barely fit in the case. But not as huge as that 3090 behind me. That has reset my definition of what huge is. Oh, I forgot to put my my lights on, my other little nice lights. I can do that for the thumbnail before I go. Let's do that. I love these things, the Aperture mini lights, the MC, I think MC 100s. If I knew how to work a phone, you can connect them to Bluetooth and control all of them. But I don't. I'm gonna have this here for, like, you know, a little bit of pop in my hair light. All right, guys, I don't really have anything else to say. Other than I hope to see you guys soon. I gotta get my head down editing the videos I've been compiling. I do have a big project, of course, with Sapphire coming up. They want to do that in May. It's due in May. I have another really cool video with the S4T that I want to release soonish. Before that, I have to do the S4T introduction video. So there's that. Probably immediately up is more cooler review shootout videos. I ended up getting more coolers, and everybody knows I love that. So I gotta get that out of the way. Those are the immediate ones. I really just I need somebody to make videos for me all day long. I'll just follow me around with the camera and then edit because I'm constantly making stuff. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace. And I'll see you next time. It doesn't turn you off. All right. God bless, guys.